Friends, we got a little hands-on going here. We talked about hands-on, how important that is. Uh, Mr. Dozer Dennis, go check his channel out. Look at the last video, you'll see what's going on. He invited me to be a guest speaker for his children in his heavy equipment class. He put a little video up he made here with me yesterday. If you're curious, go check him out. He's a good guy. And I'll tell you another one that I've been really watching. He got 2 or 3 really good videos up. Is Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. You've heard me talk about him before. Go check out Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. He got a train video up. You know, toy train. It is a crazy 50s train set with everything you can imagine. I didn't even know they had stuff like that. Man, I want to come over there and see if I could play with it. But and he's got some more good ones up after that. Good job, Mr. Obsolete. Appreciate it. Okay, here's what we got. Day after New Year's. That's kind of one of them days, you know. And you know what? I took a little downtime. I needed it. But here's what I wanted to work on. Buckin's p51. And we have some problems. You heard about the reed cage thing and everything we're doing. Well, we're changing carburation. First thing I had to do was get a reed cage that big. That's much more opened up than it was. Believe me. Okay? Because it had that tiny little carburetor. This is the one that came with it. This is what we're putting on it. Much bigger, much bigger carburetor. Okay? To be able to support bigger reeds, faster reeds, better reeds, we had to get more air through the carburetor and more out to exhaust. This is the way it is. Plain and simple, and we had to up the compression just a little bit, which we are doing with a base gasket delete. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to love it. But what I was playing with was the reed thickness. I'm not going to tell you what this number is until we test it. I managed to pick up 2 or 3 of these, and I'm blending them in certain spots. Once I get where I'm happy with this, you want to know what I did for reed thicknesses and what I did to the reed cage. I should have showed you this, but I didn't want to get into half and at it, you know. I should have showed you that before I started. I mean, that was dinky little bugger. For this size 82cc, I didn't want that. Okay, so what we're doing is you're always, this is coming back, right back apart, clean, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. But for intensive purposes, I'll show you what this reed is. We'll put that little bugger right there. And what happened, you heard me blow through it before, and it sounded like a duck call, didn't it? Yeah, it did. It was funny. It is the way it is. Yeah, it made a nice duck call. Okay. And I told you when I got done, it's not going to be a duck call anymore. Well, it's not. I'm not putting that stopper back on that. I have to make a hard decision whether I want nothing, a strap, or limit it. I am going to choose the first time to do it with nothing, because I know how to tell if it's opening too far. I think before it gets sent to Buckin, it's going to have a strap to support the end of that reed. Okay, but when you're doing test and tune stuff with us, you're taking it apart and you're putting it back together a few times. Don't over tighten these ever. But I'm going to tell you what, you make sure they're tight enough. I'm going to put a little something on these screws to make that go ahead and stay tight. Okay, so, you know, I probably should have made sure this didn't sound like duck call. I knew duck call is bad on dirt bike. So if this sounds like a duck call still, I didn't do it right. Oh, it sounds like a duck call, but high. I got to really push a lot of air. It's not a good duck call anymore. I can get it to sound. Remember last time I could really make that thing wail, but if I push real hard, I can. That's telling me I got my tension where I want it. It's a good test for these single reeds. Double reeds is harder, but you can still do the same thing. I got it to work that time. I had to go slower. Okay, when you go fast, it quits, is what it is. Okay. It's not as nice of a duck call. Before you didn't have to try. And it was just wailing like an old sick moose. I mean, I never heard a moose wail. I'm just, you know mooses. We got this animal thing we've been doing lately. I'm a little surprised somebody hadn't said something about that. Okay, now this reed goes into this saw, just like that, just like a tongue. Obviously, the cylinder and everything's right here. Okay, now I'm gonna bring you around so you can see what I'm gonna do. It picks up the impulse right here in the original carburetor and right through the reed cage itself. It's this top hole right there. Okay, we're gonna have that all blocked off, but right here we're gonna drill a hole and we're gonna put a nipple in to pick up our impulse. All right, so we know how to do that. Fuel line, it's not going to be an issue. It's still on the proper side. I might have to rotate this. Let me bring it over here and I'm going to tip you down so you can get a bird's eye view of what's really going on here. Okay. Now this is the Walboro SDC that was on it. Right here, governor carburetor. See that little screw? Yeah, you know the deal. Yeah, we can get by that, governor. No, we're doing something better. What we want to do is increase the performance level of a chainsaw using motocross dirt bike tricks. Because we can. And we want to see how it works. And we're sick enough to try it. Buckin's going to be crazy. He's crazy, man. He's crazy enough to run this. I'm going to be crazy enough to build it for him. This ain't, I don't want it stupid. If this thing's, like, dangerous, no, we'll back off on that reed. As we can at any time. It's no big deal. But I do want to show you what was some of the problems we had to do. If you ever get wild with some of this stuff, you'd be surprised how many carburetors will fit from things they're not intended and how much you can actually do with just what you got laying around. If you got as much junk as I do for saw parts, you can generally find something. Sometimes I don't even know what it was off of originally. Okay, so that's the reed cage and the cage and carburetor part. Now I had a problem. This is a Walboro off of a 372 X-Torque. Well, they're real big because they inject fresh air. Now, isn't that something that a modern emissions carburetor is just bigger than a house inside because it had this partition in it right here. Okay? The top, fresh air only. The bottom, air, fuel mixture. That's the way they work. Well, so when you're doing crazy things, you can take these carburetors and do something pretty nice with them. Okay, so obviously we got the carburetor to bolt right on without any real deals, but the choke was upside down. It worked wrong. It was backwards and upside down. It didn't work the right way. The original carburetor, to operate the choke, you had to pull it. See? On this X-Torque carburetor, you had to push it. You guys remember, huh? Okay, so now we had to be able to pull it. Okay, now we can. I had to take that shaft out. I had to clearance a little groove on the inside of the carburetor so that I could flip this shaft around. Yeah, and I took that little high idle lock and the little spring right off because I didn't need all that. Fuel line goes in here. I might just leave it the way it is. No, I'm going to rotate that. I can do that because I know that'll be nicer. It comes out of the tank better that way. Okay, The throttle, remember we said we had to do a thing with the throttle? Okay. This hole right here is the one that's being used for the throttle cable. Okay. As near as I can tell, I got room right there to drill a hole for the throttle rod. It's a rod now instead of a cable. The only thing I'm a little concerned about, and we can solve that problem if it crops up, is do I have room? See, with a Husqvarna, you reach in through the case to adjust it. Do I have room to do that? Should I just put a nut on it? What should I do? Should I drill a hole? Is there a place to drill a hole? Let's see. Now, this has got them little locks. We've talked about that. I've showed you guys how to depress them, take them locks off. We're not going to have a government carburetor. This saw is going to have nothing to hold it back. And what we just did with that reed, this is going a good step in the right direction. I'm going to do this probably in several steps. If I hit it the first time, it'll scare me. It really will. This is what this kind of stuff's all about. Now, the reason we use that, we're looking for a hit. We want that when you whack that trigger, that thing just comes up in RPMs and goes bang. Okay. On the exhaust side of this cylinder, I'm going to show you a little what we're doing. I'm going to do something I shouldn't because I do have the parts. See that bridge in there? And that exhaust? We're getting rid of that bridge. I don't want no darn bridge. We just increased airflow massively through the saw. So I want to get it out. And that's one way I'm going to do it. These transfers on this, when I do these, which will be either a little later day or another day, I'm going to cut them down right here, open for the length of the opening of the transfer. Okay? You see me do that on the Husqvarnas. Now, they actually got a pretty nice looking transfer in that, believe it or not. I have a hard time. See how big they are? They're nice big. That transfer timing was almost a little scary what they did to this. They held this saw back by the reed thickness. The reed side cage was real small inside, and the carburetor's real small. That's how they held this saw back. So I'm going to tell you what, you probably don't need to port one of these to get major freaking gains. I'll share all that with you if I think that's what it is. I expect good things. I want this to be a safe, reliable saw. I want it to operate correctly, have no problems with it. The one thing, this carburetor, by the time I get done with it, it's going to be quite exotic. It's if Buckin needs to, he can put a regular carburetor kit. He ain't going to have any problem with it. But to try to duplicate that, my son Colin is sitting here watching. Tell him what you said about it.
I said he's got parts on saws all over the place, and nobody will know what the heck to do with it if he ever had to bring it back, and I don't think he would even know what the heck he did to it.
Yeah, it happens. We just, if I've done that to one of your saws, any of you's got one, I tell you, if I didn't say anything, it's run-of-the-mill. It's nothing to worry about. This is going to be exotic. Isn't that nice? I'll tell you why I worked on this first. I wanted to know by what kind of an impression or feeling I was going to get out of this saw. By how much airflow can I actually make? Apparently I can make an awful lot. And it's got CCs enough to really withstand it too. That's what I like. I'm so happy with that. And the choke's going to work the way it's supposed to. The throttle's going to work. Now here's what I got for you, Buckin. This carburetor, if you ever have problems with this one, you can rebuild this. It's going to be easy. It's going to be hands down. One thing or another. But we got this carburetor too. Always can be thrown back on there. I don't want to. And I know you don't either. We want to see this thing just run right out of the box, don't we? Okay, probably the next thing I'm going to do is when I get this, I'll show you the port work, explain what we did, the numbers we hit, and we're going to put the cylinder back on. We're going to throw this reed cage in. And then the third video, we'll fire the mother up. That's what we're going to do. Oh, my goodness sakes, you're tipping over. Well,
It's the day after New Year's.
Day after New Year's. Don't expect that to happen. Hey, you want to know the truth? I was ready for bed at 6:30 last night. I went to bed about 8. I was sitting there playing on my tablet and getting some stuff done that had to be taken care of and looking for parts that I still ain't found yet. But it's all good. Stay safe. You guys have a real good New Year. I appreciate you showing up for this. And I'm glad you just showed up for life. Just glad you did. Thank you so much. Goodbye.